You watch an American football game, 22 men line up, a ball snaps back, hands grab it, cleats pound forward. Somebody's foot touches that ball maybe 4 times in 60 minutes. And you call this sport football. It sounds like a joke. But the real answer is far stranger. It has nothing to do with feet at all. Rewind to 19th century England. Wealthy men rode horses for sport, polo, fox hunting. Anything with a saddle belonged to the upper class. Games played on foot without a horse were for everyone else. Football simply meant a game played on foot as opposed to on horseback. That's the whole secret. Nobody was promising you'd kick anything. They were promising you wouldn't need a horse. Sports historian David Goldblatt traces this in his History of Football's Global Spread. Dozens of foot games splintered from one loose category of rough on-foot contests played in English schoolyards. Some let players carry the ball, some didn't. For decades, nobody agreed. Chaos was the sport. In 1863, English clubs tried to fix that chaos, but they couldn't agree on one question: could you pick the ball up and run? One faction said no, feet only. They became the Football Association. Their game became what most of the world calls football. The other faction said yes, carry it, tackle the runner. They walked away and built their game around a school called rugby. That became rugby football. Notice the name. Carrying and tackling, still called football. Because football never meant a game played with your feet, it meant a game played on your feet. Small distinction, enormous consequences. Cross the ocean now. American colleges in the 1870s played a rough version of that rugby game. One man reshaped it completely. His name was Walter Camp, a Yale student obsessed with structure. Historian Michael Oriard calls him the sport's chief architect, the man who turned a scrum of confused rugby players into a game of planned formations. Camp introduced the line of scrimmage in 1880, replacing the old shoving pile with a clean handoff at a marked line. Suddenly, you could plan plays before the ball even moved. He introduced downs, a countdown forcing teams to advance or give up the ball. He shrank the team to 11 players. Piece by piece, he engineered a new sport out of rugby's raw material. Nobody renamed it. Still, technically, a football, a game played on foot. Not a game where feet did the work. Why does that feel so wrong now? Because somewhere between 1870 and today, the word quietly changed meaning in your head. You assumed it described the ball. It never did. It described the field. Words freeze at the moment they're born and drag that meaning forward for a century. A car dashboard has nothing to do with dashing horses anymore, but early carriages had a board that stopped mud from dashing up at the driver. Language researcher Ben Zimmer, who studies exactly this kind of linguistic fossil, points out that plenty of English names survive purely as historical residue. Football is one of the clearest examples on Earth. It fossilized in the 1800s and kept walking unbothered into your living room every Sunday. So look at what still connects the modern game to that original meaning. No horses, no motors, no wheels. Every player still gets down that field on nothing but their own 2 legs. The foot part was never about the ball. It was always about the body standing on your own feet without an animal doing the work for you. A quarterback launching a 50-yard pass is technically doing exactly what the word promised in 1863. He's on foot, not on horseback. The ball was always incidental. You do this constantly and never notice. You dial a phone with no dial. You hang up a call with no cord to hang. Renaming everything every time reality shifts would be exhausting, so your mind lets old words carry new meanings quietly without a vote. Football didn't need a rebrand when Camp reshaped it. It just needed to still make sense to the people playing it. So the name stuck, mismatch and all. So next time you watch a ball get carried, thrown, and kicked exactly once per game, you're not watching a mistake. You're watching a century and a half of etymology quietly hiding inside 60 minutes of television. The horses left the story a long time ago. The name never got the memo. You watch a game with barely any feet involved, called football, and it turns out the real answer was never about the feet at all. It was about who got to stand on the ground.